second chance in the game.
I'm Justin Groves, the head football coach here at Benton High School in wonderful Southern Illinois. In a moment, you'll meet my offensive coordinator, Aaron Webb. I'll let him introduce himself and share his info with you. As you see there, we're going to talk a little bit about a walk-through practice plan that we've been working on. Of course, like everyone else, we've stole a lot from a lot of places, but this one has had enough modifications and things now after 3 years. I think it's safe to call it ours. We like to say we're going to cover all of our bases before game day, so it'll be a good Thursday plan for you. Before we get into the details of this, though, obviously I've got a copy here laminated, and this will be provided for you somewhere there in the information on this video. I keep this on my clipboard. All of our coaches have one. So if you have nine games in your season and you get every one of your coaches one of these plans, there's 9 days that you don't have to account for in your planning. This should work good with any day, any team, any opponent, any team you're playing. We have, like I said, we have changed it over time, but I think we've got it pretty close to the way we want it that works good for us and with our system and our facilities. So to me, there was this old school versus new school change that kind of happened in terms of practice. And our practices now are way shorter than they ever were. Been at this game for a long time, and I can remember some grueling 3 and 3.5 hour practices. And we've got a goal to get out in less than 2 hours now in almost every practice we have. Some are as short as an hour and a half. This particular one usually is about an hour and 40 minutes tops from very start to finish. We found the traditional plan was just taking way too long. Your time between special teams, trying to change in bodies in and out, and you follow a long offensive segment with a long defensive segment, and kids tend to lose a little interest and focus. So this is fast-paced, hour and 40-minute practice plan, and like I said, we've included just about every aspect that you could encounter in a football game, every situation. And the key to this is, can you execute a perfect rep on air? And if so, we can kind of move on. So we'll cover a little bit more of that as we go. The first thing I want to share with you there is our facilities. It's just an aerial shot of some things we're proud of here at Benton. And to give you an idea, in the lower right-hand corner there, we've got a practice area that we get to utilize during the week. We used to have a practice field that we would wear out, which is actually would be below the screen here, which is now a parking lot. There are no lines on it. We could sometimes put our own on there, and no facilities really out there to speak of. And now that we have a turf facility and we're able to be right there on our game field with good markings and things, it makes this plan go real smooth. And we got the room to do it, and all the numbers and everything that you just don't normally have on a grass facility away from your game field. So to kick this off, usually 15 minutes prior to practice, regardless of the day, we're going to have some kind of pre-practice routine. And our Thursday or our day before walk-through plan is always going to be about the same. We're going to start with a rope stretch. It's a routine we've developed. Our cross-country coach, athletic trainer, and a few other guys have kind of worked together on developing this for our guys. And if you don't static stretch with your team, I know some guys do it pre-game. We don't do it typically pre-game. We may do it way early, maybe one of the first things we do just to loosen some things up. But we do it consistently, whether we're lifting weights, conditioning, or practicing, and we feel like it's really limited our lower body injuries. If anybody's interested in that, I'll have my email address here at the end. I'll be happy to share that with you as well. So we go from stretching, and they do that as a team. Seniors, captains lead that and get that going. Then we step out to the field. Quarterbacks and centers will get 25 of each of our snaps that we've got, shotgun and under center. And all of our specials try to get a little work in. Again, we're not wanting to wear anybody out. It is the day before a game. We're going to make sure we're getting a few punts, a few kickoffs, some extra points and field goals. All of our snappers and holders are working, and then the guys that would normally field those kickoffs and punts are down catching those. So they got 15 minutes to get that done. Then we start practice. We start with our dynamic warm-up, and again, another routine that we've developed from some various sources, but ours is kind of a sprint-based, speed-based, running drill-based dynamic warm-up, stuff you would do similar. And if you coach track or have been around track programs, we're going to do something very similar to that. Then we go into our everyday drills that we do offensively. These are non-negotiables. We do them every single day we get together. We do noose, pat, and go, and pretty standard out-of-the-box stuff there. But again, Coach Johnson's another gentleman you'll hear from in one of our clinics, and he's available to answer any questions you may have on that, or Coach Webb can help you there. Then we'll do some work with our offensive and defensive linemen over there. I think I just caught my presentation up, so now that should make a little more sense. Those guys do fundamental everyday technique drills, and we'll have a little one-on-one time there just to kind of get their pads warmed up and that. If you look there, then before we start this practice, and a lot of times I'll do this, in the coach's office or whatever, I'll have a coach at that water break. He's going to be in charge of starting the clock to make sure we stay on time, and another coach is usually going to get our scout team in pennies. And that's generally some sophomores, maybe some juniors that don't start on defense, and so that they're ready and they're on the sidelines, established and ready to go. Once we get into this walkthrough, and I'll cover all the special teams and defense, and I'll let Coach Webb come up and explain what his mindset is on the offensive part. So after we've got our timekeeper set, our coach has got our scout team ready to go. You can see we've got two columns of segments there. On the left is all, starting with kickoff, going down. Everything in orange is a special team. Everything in blue is an offensive segment. Everything in that kind of light purple color is a defensive segment. And you can see it kind of bounces around a little bit. If you just kind of read through those, it may seem like, well, that's a little bit chaotic. The reality of it is we practice a little bit chaotic at times. It keeps our guys on their toes. And this method of bouncing around back and forth, I've found it to be extremely effective at keeping guys kind of locked into what's next. Plus, in a game, you don't just go out and play offense for 30 minutes and then defense for 30 minutes. You're going to be in and out of special teams. It helps us with getting our correct personnel on the field. And so right when we get ready to start this, we usually have one coach that's going to tell the boys, they're on the sidelines, they're ready to go to be called in for the first group. He says they have 3 jobs. You're going to stand here, you're going to breathe, and you're going to take the field when your name's called. And that's really the key to this thing, is keeping guys locked in the whole time. Everybody's at some point going to have a job to do. So just to go through them, I'll go through all the special teams first. We're going to start off and go a couple reps of kickoff. That's just on air with a couple guys catching. We'll go to our shield punt it's kind of a spread punt that we run. Again, I've got a 1 beside that. We get 1 rep on that. If it's executed perfectly and we've hit the coaching points, we can move on. Field goal block and score a touchdown. So, it's an opportunity to coach our defense up a little bit. Obviously, on an extra point at our level, we can't do anything with that. It's going to be a dead ball, but they need to know that a field goal is a live ball, so it's just a chance a week to make sure that we're hitting on that topic. Kickoff return, we'll get 2 reps in there, and that's something where in some cases we'll line some extra guys out there to give them a look as far as what the other team's going to do. Our punt return, punt block, there's 2 reps there, 1 of each. On the return, we may fair catch that. We've been pretty big the last couple of years on trying to ensure we get the best field position possible, and we've had the guy back there to do it. So that's something we make sure and get a few reps of. Our punt, there's our tight punt will be the next segment we will go over. So if we get backed up into our own end zone or whatever, and we want to tighten everything down, we can do that. And we also take the opportunity there to talk about if we need to take a safety and maybe want to kill a little time back there. So we'll go through that scenario at least that 1 time a week. Then we look at what happens after taking a safety. We're going to run our kickoff team out. So it's, again, guys in and out. We'll kick off from the 20 or we may punt. We had a punter this year that could have done that. We're only in that situation 1 time, but it's one of those deals where if you don't think about it a little bit ahead of time, you may get a little confusion, and this has helped our guys just to kind of do the right thing. Extra point, and we usually do 2 or 3 of these, depends on how the kicker's responding. This year we were fortunate enough to have 2 kickers, but once we settled out which one was going to do the bulk of the extra point work, it became pretty easy. Then we run out our onside our onside kick team, which may be the same group. We like to go right, left, and middle, and just depending on what the defensive alignment is for us on that, the other team's return team. Now our quick punt, our third punt segment, seems like there's a lot of punt segments. Well, we punt a lot of different ways. We can just direct snap to the quarterback. He steps back, and we quick punt. We did that a lot this year. So we had a quarterback that could really place it in some nice spots. So you get just across the 50, and maybe you're in that kind of that zone where you're not sure what you're going to do. Quick punt was always in the back of our mind. Then we work on our extra point on a bad snap, and we fire that, get a rep of that in, just so everybody knows where to go on a case of a bad snap or a bad mishandled snap. Our kickoff return team will come out, and we'll make sure and get a couple hands team reps. So we onside cover, we'll do each direction. Sometimes we'll put multiple balls out and have multiple coaches kicking at different guys just to work on that. That paid us some dividends actually this year. Then we look at kickoff return. If we get a safety and they're going to be kicking off from the 20, and that's mainly just to get lined up right. So much of football is just getting the correct alignment. And then the last special team that we do is a hurry-up field goal. So if you look right before that, which Coach Webb will explain later, we just ran a 2-minute offense, and at that point you would be in an end zone. So what we actually do is, while they're in the process of finishing that out, I spot a ball down on the opposite end, and they're going to have about 30 seconds to get down there and get the kickoff, and puts a little pressure on the kicker, pressure on the guys, and got to get the right team out there, and it's all got to happen fast, and that's something that's worked pretty well for us. So we've skipped all through this thing from left to right, top to bottom on the left, and top to bottom on the right. And then in between there, I'll go over the defensive segments, and we'll let Coach Webb explain the offense. So the first defensive segment you've got there is red zone with the ball in the 15. So this is where the opportunity comes for the coordinators to get involved and have their scripted plays prepared. And in this case, our defensive coordinator would have these on cards, and they'd be in a binder. Whoever's running our scout team for the practice would have them go over the card real quick and line up and run it. And these are plays we've ran during the week, so it's nothing new for them. We just get 2 reps right there at red zone with the 2 plays we think they're most likely to run when they get to that point in the field. Then we skip down a little bit after some offense and special teams, and we go over 3rd and a mile. So we're going to go 3 plays that we think we're going to get potentially in a 3rd down and long situation. Scroll down a little farther. We've got 5 plays out of multiple formations. So these are just going to be the 5 biggest plays, maybe the 5 plays we're the most concerned about stopping. And then the next defensive segment, again, is some more of that same stuff, just another 5 that, to us are the big plays and the big formations that we got to stop. Then in that process there, we got 2 more plays while we're still together. They got to do a scoop and score, so it's a planned, fumble play where the defense has to be alert, pick it up, scoop and score. And then we work on our interception, which we call Ranger. So one of our guys gets an interception, everybody's yelling Ranger and going and finding somebody to block. And I find that you're good at what you practice, and some of those things we got real good at the last couple of years. So it's nice to just talk about them, have a day to talk about what our expectations are. Then the last defensive segment is a goal line stand, and it's only 2 plays. Sometimes we'll extend that a little bit. If there's a team we're concerned about, that's really going to line up and try to mash us and be in some 3rd and short, 4th and short, and goal line situations, we may run a few more. But again, we're just kind of thudding here a little bit at this point. We're not looking to get too many people banged up on the day before a game, but we do go in shells and we do let them hit just a little bit. So at that point, we're looking at about 24 special teams reps and about 19 reps on defense. And then at this time, I'm going to have Coach Webb come up, and he's going to go over his thought process for all the offensive segments.
Hi, I'm Coach Aaron Webb. I've coached at Benton now for 5 years. I'm the offensive coordinator for the Benton Rangers. I've always said and Coach will tell you this, the key to being a good coach is having good coaches around you, and I've got a great offensive staff that helps me out every week, and me and Coach get together every week, and we plan a lot of this stuff out, and that is essential in being a good coach. And with this plan for the walkthrough on Thursdays, it used to be a really monotonous day. I felt like a lot of kids dragging. With this plan, I feel like it really gets everybody on the move. You have a purpose to get to practice, and everybody can see the end of the practice is coming, and they know they have to be in their spots and be ready to go. It also gets you ready for the game situations. Like he said, every day we start out with noose and pack and go. It's every day. It's our essential little things that we feel lead to being and making us great players. Practice planning is essential to great practices. That's what this is right here, and it's a great practice plan. I I suggest that you guys put it in. So it'll be really, really good for your Thursday practices. I'll talk a little bit about what we do in the offense here. On my first segment here, the offense is in the blue right there. The first 5 plays of the game. What I like to do is different formations. I try to get to see how the defense aligns. That's what I like to do is try to mix it up for these first 5 plays, put a different formation each time, throw in a little bit of motion, some run and some pass. Just some quick and easy, something quick and easy if I'm going to pass it though, to try to get my quarterback in a rhythm, to just try to get him ready to go. If I see something that week in game planning, I'm looking for an early shot I can take. If I see something and I talk to Coach about it, hey, Coach, what do you think about this? And he's really, really good about saying, hey, let's do it. So that's awesome for me. So he's not scared to take a shot, so I always like to take a shot early. Okay, so that may be in my first 5 plays. It may be in my first 10 plays, but I like to script a big play in early in the game so that way you guys can try to get a little bit of momentum on your side and catch them off guard. 2-point conversions is the next thing. My 3 best that I have. I've got a play card with me in a script every time. I like to flip that over, and I've got my 5 to 6 best go-to plays that I really want to do, and I suggest that you do that also on the back of your play card. That's essential also to a great game calling day also, I feel, is being prepared and getting those in there. So have your 5 to 6, your best 2-point conversions and your go-tos on that day. I'm not saying you can't go off script, because I go off script a lot, but it's always better to be prepared just so you know what you're doing in that situation. The next one we'll skip down to is the offensive side. It's the 2-yard line coming out. It's your best 3 plays that you're going to be coming out against the goal line. That's a tough area to run offense. You got to have something that's going to be going quick. You got to get the ball out of your quarterback's hand quick so you don't take a safety. I like to motion and then have my quarterback run right at him. So because we're in the shotgun. So we like to run right at him real quick with our quarterback. Don't have to fumble a handoff that way. We've been fortunate the last couple of years to have a really talented quarterback that could run the football. So that's been our advantage on the 3-yard line coming out. We like to run him and get us off our backs off the goal line. And then we switch it up with the 2-yard line going in. I like to have a couple different formations here just to try to get the guys involved and listening. So the guys that are on the sideline, if I'm changing formations, that they're coming in out of the formations, they're coming into the game at different times, so that way it gets the guys involved also there. That's with the 3-yard line going in. And then the next one is the offensive segment of the 10 plays, and it says our big 6. Our big 6 plays are runs, RPOs, our pass, our out-of-the-pocket passes, our screens, and then our trick plays and our gimmick plays. Those are the 6 big plays that I try to run during this segment. So I try to hit each individual one of those plays during this segment. So I'm not just focusing on one set of plays that I'm running. I'm trying to hit up every segment of the game in that 10-play segment right there. And I feel like that's a really crucial segment to get us going. I'm not saying it just can be 10 plays. I like to have a perfect segment in a lot of these segments, whereas if we drop a ball, it's on air, so let's do it again. And then my defensive guys get a little bit agitated at me because they're like, I thought it was supposed to be 10 plays, and I run it out to 15. But I like to have a perfect segment there because it's against air. We scroll down to the red zone. We struggled in this area for some reason. We could score from the 40 better than the 20 a lot of the time this year, it seemed like. But this is something that we have to get better at this year. The big thing that we focus on saying is just finish is the big word that we like to say, is just we tell our guys, just get in the end zone right here, okay? That's the big words we use right there. The 8 offensive plays. I have plays that we have struggled on this week. I like to do different formations in this one, move a lot of guys around in different spots, have our motions coming off of it, a lot of terminologies that we've kind of struggled on in the week. I like to hit them in these 8 different plays in this segment to make sure that our guys are locked in for this week. If we've got a different play that we've put in for that week, specifically for this team, I like to hit it on the right side and the left side of the ball when we're running the ball here, so that way our guys have it fresh in their mind for the next day during the game day. The offensive 2-minute segment, the 2-minute drill during this, This is an awesome one. Our kids really get after it in this one because they know it's coming close to an end, and we need to have a good segment here because this is a gameplay situation where I have a scripted 2-minute drill that I know the plays that's going to happen, and I like to do it in different situations. I have to jump around on the script maybe sometimes, but that's okay. The kids won't know it, but we'll throw in a ball clock the situation where we have to clock the ball. We'll throw in a penalty sometimes. We'd like to throw different things in different situations at them at different times, so that way, and during a game, whenever they hit adversity, then they don't just fold up. So that's one of my favorite segments, is the 2-minute drill toward the end. And obviously, then we go into the victory, every coach's favorite formation. So we do that at the end as well. I said also here, I said play scripting is critical on this day. Coach and I sit down every week, and we plan out the 20 plays really that we want to see throughout that week, and I try to plan them into each individual segments in one way or the other, so that way our kids are repping those plays before the next day and the game day. Have all your plays planned out that you want to hit during the game day, and try to really focus on those and try to see what's your bread and butter and try to stick with those. Don't try to church it up too much. And in this format and in this segment right here, then you're going to be able to hit all of your stuff and all the situations throughout the day. That's why we really like this segment.
Okay, so at this point, we've been through both sides. I know we didn't go in order. I think you're obviously capable of going through and seeing how the flow of that works, and you could easily move things around. You're going to have a spreadsheet you can go grab. Just move those cells around where you want them. Like I said, we're on 3.0 of this. It's the third version of this practice plan, and we find little ways to tweak it and modify it depending on what our needs are during the season. At this point, we've ran 85 plays, maybe a few more if our 2-minute drill goes a couple plays longer, maybe a few less if we get that done quicker. So what seems to go very, very fast is very, very productive. 85 reps. I mean, we had a game this year we ran 45 offensive plays in. So, and one that was even maybe less than that. So it goes by quick. My favorite thing about it, a lot of people say, well, you've done a great job, Coach. And what I can take credit for are two things. Number one, I get the kids in the halls that need to be playing football. I get them out to play football. And number two, I've surrounded myself with some of the best coaches in the area. And to watch in a practice like this where we're all getting locked in for the next day and see everybody flying around, everybody has their job to do, and everybody's ready for the next segment and they're checking to see what's coming next, and we're trying to keep things going as fast as we can. It's really exciting to see. So when we get through those 85 or so reps, now we're talking post-practice. So after coaches get a chance to speak, there's time there for extra work. So if a position coach sees something he needs to address during practice, we're going to consider 15 minutes of bonus time there. They can take their stuff off and go through that. Sometimes we'll have a talk session afterwards if we feel like there's something in the run game maybe we need to address and just reiterate. Or, sometimes, I know if you're like us, a lot of times we'll have a team meal after this. Well, if we get through this practice in an hour and 40 minutes and we've got an hour and a half until dinner, it's a good opportunity to, hang out with some offensive linemen or whatever and go over stuff, show a little film, whatever it is you feel like you need to do. The last little bit there that I added, we always tell our guys this day is the day to handle any gear and equipment issues. Last thing you want to do on a Friday when the bus leaves at 5 is being there at 4:30 working on some kid's helmet because a screw was missing yesterday at practice. So we talk and reiterate that. You got 15 minutes, come in, bring your gear, anything you're having problems with, and let's get that stuff sorted out right now. So you've got the plan. You've kind of heard our explanation of it. We like it. We think it's really helped our program tremendously and just helped us to kind of streamline things a little bit. And it's one day a week of practice is all done for us. We know exactly what to do. Got a lot of hours invested in it up front, but it's saving us time on the back end. There's my email address, jgroves@bentonhighschool.org. And you see Coach Webb's there as well, awebb@bentonhighschool.org. And just like all of our coaches, if any of you want to talk any ball at all, we're obviously always able and willing to do that. Shoot me an email and reach out, and we'll be happy to help in any way we can. And just wish you the best of luck next season.